A person's heart will cease beating if they run out of blood. Additionally, if a nation's industrialization is hindered by a shortage of oil, its economy will regress by 50 years. Consequently, an economy's reliance on oil is a nation's lifeline. Being the world's biggest industrial nation, in order to develop, China needs a lot of oil. Nevertheless, China's oil resources are not abundant and can only be imported, making them readily under the control of other nations. China frequently works in partnership with other nations to explore oil reserves in order to avoid oil supply problems. A $5 billion oil field project was once publicly auctioned by the United States. China ultimately secured the project after a period of competition between Chinese and Indian businesses. However, the fact that ties between China and the United States have not been cordial raises curiosity. However, the oil field project was freely transferred to China by the United States. Is there a secret agenda at play here? Before we go on, subscribe to Chi News to watch about all the shocking world projects. You won't regret it. So, let's begin. The Caspian field is situated in the Republic of Kazakhstan along the Caspian Sea coast. It consists of 4 sections and was originally found in 2000. The assessment indicates that Caspian field is the world's biggest oil field, with geological oil reserves of 35 billion barrels. The U.S. Department of Energy estimates that the Prudhoe-Hepburn oil field will enable the Caspian region to produce 1.5 million barrels per day in the future. Additionally, with large-scale mining, the daily production of the Kashagan field can satisfy 10% of Europe's daily demand. Assuming that they regain the mining rights to the stockpile, the Caspian area also has enormous natural gas reserves for all nations in the globe. In Kazakhstan, a field it implies that they have a large cash cow in their hands. Therefore, as a major oil consumer, nations like the United States, the United Kingdom, and Japan showed their support for Kazakhstan as Kazakh enterprises were prepared to open the Caspian resource to the globe. China also has great aspirations to acquire the cash field mining rights. However, Western nations frequently repress China in various initiatives because they are so terrified of its ascent. As long as there are initiatives that include Western nations or that greatly benefit China, when they buy back Kazakhstan's cash shares, they will make every effort to obstruct China's intentions. Minefield writes, to bar China from the door and keep it from acquiring interests in the Caspian field, Western nations banded together. China was forced to give up the Caspian field project out of desperation. It is known that one of the biggest investors in the Caspian area is the United States. The United States believed they had completed a successful operation and anticipated receiving a sizable sum of money when the Caspian field had been successfully mined. But the United States' downfall was brought on by reality. Since this endeavor, more than 10 years have gone. However, cashing in on didn't bring him any money. The United States has lost patience and confidence as a result of the extensive research and significant financial commitment that have not been successful in yielding results. Therefore, the U.S. intended to sell his money once more. Shares of field mining. The American company ConocoPhillips is getting ready to sell 8.4% of its shares to India following a period of inspections. India had originally intended to throw a celebration to honor its joining the cash field effort. In spite of this, India, a friendly neighbor of China, was not pleased with the reality. Kazakhstan is well aware of China's severe oil shortage. Kazakhstan therefore first purchased the shares from the United States and afterwards sold them to China for a price of $5 billion USD. India was extremely incensed by this because without Kazakhstan's assistance, India would be able to access more oil, while China would never be able to acquire a long-term share in the Caspian Basin. Additionally, China purchased 8.4% of the shares at a cost of $5 billion, which greatly angered ConocoPhillips since they thought the price was too cheap and could not in any way compete with the shares of the Caspian field. ConocoPhillips did not lose money despite their strong resistance, and they even dropped the controversial idea of cashing the field. As a result, they were still filled with joy. However, the shares were transferred quickly after. In a speech, ConocoPhillips stated that several major oil-producing nations felt that this project could not be carried out at all and that China wanted to join. China is a complete moron. So what took place? This is due to the fact that, particularly during a freezing season, the temperature in the cash organ field swings dramatically, with the greatest temperature reaching 40 degrees Celsius and the lowest temperature reaching -40 degrees Celsius. Staff who spend more than an hour working outside risk developing frostbite. Additionally, it is particularly challenging to transport oil because the surrounding environment was negatively impacted when oil was extracted. In the summertime, places like Catch were frequently subjected to storm surges. In the event that oil is transported at this time, the oil tanker is at risk of rolling over, which would result in the oil leaking into the water and severely polluting the ocean. In the event that a disaster of this magnitude does place, international environmental protection authorities will take action. However, there is no foolproof solution to the problem of storm surges that oil tankers must encounter. As a direct result of this, the oil industry in the Caspian region is presently facing challenging conditions. The preparedness of China is demonstrated by the fact that it is now willing to spend the sum of $5 billion to buy the mining interests in the Caspian area. There is a significant likelihood that China will be able to overcome these challenges and turn the Caspian field, which the United States regards to be a dormant oil resource, into a source of revenue for the country. As part of China's efforts to combat the icing problem brought on by the climate crisis, the country has developed a new type of workboat that is capable of preventing freezing. This vessel not only features sophisticated heating technology, but it also has the ability to protect its crew members from getting frostbite when the weather becomes chilly. The Chinese government has decided that work on an oil pipeline running from China to Kazakhstan will get underway in the year 2004. The construction of this oil pipeline is now taking place in China. It begins in Kazakhstan on the shore of the Caspian Sea and continues all the way to the state of Alaska in the province of Xinjiang in China. The whole length of this oil pipeline is greater than 1,700 kilometers in total length. This oil pipeline not only helps China solve the problem of oil transportation, but it also provides a variety of other benefits to the country. For instance, China is no longer concerned about the passage of ships through the Strait of Malacca because of potential dangers posed by other countries. In addition, the yearly oil transportation capacity of this oil pipeline is up to 20 million tons, which helps to alleviate part of the pressure that is placed on China as a result of its oil imports from other countries. In addition, the enlargement of the oil pipeline has led to an increase in the output of the profitable Exxon field, which has resulted in China receiving an additional $12 billion in yearly revenue. In point of fact, cashing in field is a project that comes with dangers as well as benefits in response to obstacles that must be overcome. China did not pull back because of difficulties. Rather, it did so in order to overcome difficulties and benefit from risks. China has made profitable endeavors out of initiatives that are looked down upon by nations all over the world and have been given up on by the United States. Because of this, the nations that had made fun of China bitterly regret the actions they had taken. Even more so now that ConocoPhillips has divested itself of its shares, the company is fuming. Thanks for watching. Click on this video to watch about another amazing project.